Ready.
Okay. Hello, I'm Maya Lila and I'm here with one of my life partners, Ross Sunbeam, and we are having a conversation about authenticity and safety and being safe to be me, being safe to be us. And my idea was that we just start talking, jump into a conversation, and check in with what is authentic in our bodies and in this safe, slow space that is going to be unedited. Just show up and share. So, Ra, would you like to share what's authentic for you in this moment?
Hmm. What's alive right now in my body? There's a bit of a tension in my face. I feel from the AC in my room and the dryness and the light that is like right in front of me, trying to make this a decent video. So I'm feeling like kind of in the spotlight, like a deer on a highway when the truck is coming. I haven't recorded any videos in a long time, so there's an edge of nervousness and performance that is there, and I feel that especially around my head area, like here. And yeah, like a shallow breathing. And at the same time, there's also a huge gratitude just for you being here in the space with me and co-creating this and giving me the opportunity to practice and to um, be okay with all that I just described, to be there and still tuning in to what just wants to come through, which is an experience I have a lot these days, like my authentic self coming pretty unbiased and unfiltered, and a lot of, like, even now that I speak, so there's this sensation in my face and my forehead. At the same time, there's a warm, open, yeah, even like the way it's depicted here, like a kind of a sun sensation in my chest. So I can actually choose to tune into that more.
Mm.
And while I do that, I feel more joy and more playfulness and more curiosity about what wants to emerge in this conversation. And also noticing my mind coming in and like, who cares about you guys talking about this and your authentic experience? Like, people want this like 30 seconds reels about like some major insight that they had in their life or whatever. So there's definitely also the inner judge. Hello, he's with
Hello,
us.
Augustus.
Augustus, my mind. For those who don't know, I have a name for my mind, Augustus, and he's quite judgmental sometimes, trying to protect me. Yeah, and this whole topic of authenticity and safety.
Mm.
I hope you can see that on camera. Like, if we have these two circles, one of them being authentic in my expression, whatever that means, and the other one feeling safe in my body. And
Mm.
maybe there's no overlap. So I'm only feeling safe if I am inauthentic, if I'm putting a mask, if I'm putting a show. Or maybe there's like a little overlap. And I'm feeling more in alignment with my true self and joyful being. And my personal mission is to overlap these circles to become like a tunnel or like a one big cycle inside of another cycle, that it feels completely
Mm.
safe to be me at every given moment. What I find to be true in my own life experience is that joy is my higher self telling me I'm on my path. I am at this moment that I'm experiencing a joyful sensation in the stream. Like, if we imagine my, let's say, life path like a stream of water going through the mountains, I still am a free person, right? So I can choose to be inside that stream and let myself be carried. I can choose to swim against the stream. I can be completely out of the stream as well. I can go sideways or whatever. So, and for me personally, the way I experience my divinity coming in, my higher self coming in, is when I have this high amount of peace and joy and love and ease as an experience of my body, it usually means I am aligning with that river that my higher self, my oversoul, whatever you want to call it, has been laying out for me. And the human aspect of me just surrendering to that by following what Bashar would say, following my excitement, my joy, my bliss. And the only thing that would stop me from doing that playful approach to life is fear. And fear trying to keep me safe. So again, if it feels safe to, so to say, give a damn on the outcome and just do what feels right now, the most pleasurable thing I could do, then I choose to trust that the next day, the next hour, the next week, the next year, if I keep doing that, it's all gonna be fine. Instead of planning 10 years ahead and how can I control right now what's gonna happen in 10 years, that used to be my approach from a very fear-based mindset. And that created a lot of tension and a lot of unnecessary stress. And now one thing I really like to do is to keep asking myself, whatever I'm doing at the moment, how can this very thing that I'm doing be even more easy, playful, and fun? In as opposed to what am I supposed to do? What should I do? What would the right thing, the appropriate thing, the reasonable thing to do? Because then Augustus is coming hardcore in and trying to control the situation, trying to get something out of it. And instead of coming from a place of wholeness where everything is already here, and I just am and I just do.
Yeah, Augustus is trying to get love and safety and play and fun through the ways that he thinks he has to get it, which is through the like going through the hard shit and struggling and suffering.
Solving a complicated equation so the love and safety is somewhere at the end of it. And now it's like I keep reminding Augustus, wait a moment, I see that you want to keep me safe, but safety is now and love is now. Like it's already here. I literally have that experience already, so there's nothing to prove. There's nothing to achieve at this point. Not really. And whenever these patterns of trying to get somewhere that is not already here, whenever that I need to get somewhere, and that perpetuates more, I need to get somewhere, which has at the foundation of it, I'm not already here. Whenever that's coming in, I catch it, and I'm like, oh, okay. Wait, what do I need right now? How can I meet that need? Instead of trying to get it through the back door.
And I had a powerful realization while you were talking. Fear is the assumption we're not already safe. Because you're assuming there's something that you need to be afraid of that is threatening your safety, or that you're not going to be safe in the future. And I heard Paul Selig say recently that fear is a denial of the divine, which is like such a fucking powerful thing to say. And most people are like, no, that's not true. And it's like, yeah, it is true. Like fear is a denial that you're divine, that everything is divinely orchestrated, that you're safe no matter what, that you are choosing to engage.
I'm not sure if I agree with it.
I know. Most people don't, but that's the thing, is it's true. But it's the death of the ego. And but I want to go back to some other things that you brought up. The thing with um, authenticity and safety, and how authentic are we, and how safe do we feel authentic, how safe do we feel to be authentic within ourselves and our bodies, which for a lot of people is not actually that much, because we judge if we're feeling sad or if we're feeling angry or if we're not on a high, then like that authentic emotion we judge, we beat ourselves up for. And so it's actually not even safe to be authentic in front of Augustus or in front of our minds or in front of ourselves. And then how safe do we feel to be authentic with other people? Like that's another level of safety that again most of us don't have, because if you can't feel safe by yourself, you're never going to feel safe with anybody else, because you're assuming they're judging you the same way you're judging yourself. And that laser beam focus, like that's what I was hearing, was when those the safety and the authenticity can align, it's like the power of the light that can flow through you, and like the energy becomes like this laser beam of focused power and joyful true self-expression that can be the most powerful force in the world. But if it's not, if the lenses aren't perfectly aligned, then the light just kind of fractures and like sprays
I
everywhere,
love
and
that.
it doesn't do anything. Like if you just have light, it won't cut a hole in a diamond. But if you have a laser that's perfectly aligned, and you've been talking about alignment too, with authenticity and truth and safety. But the one of the things that I've been really focused on, like a mantra that came in when I was trying to plan my month and I had a million things to do, what dropped in was, I am the safe space. I am spaciousness. I am presence. I'm wholeness. The end. Like I don't need to stress. I don't need to worry about like, how am I going to get all of these 17 things done this month that I'm focused on? It's like, no, I'm the safe space. I'm whole. And then I just move from that, and everything will unfold, perfectly. And I don't need to go into the fear and the illusion that I'm not already safe, or a denial of the divine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a powerful transmission actually that I feel in the space between us here right now. That, and I wonder how many people are actually gonna grasp that on the deepest level. That if I really believe that I am supposed to be here as a soul, that the universe doesn't make mistakes, then I can't get it wrong, possibly. And if I can't get it wrong, I will freaking enjoy the ride, right? So that whole thing of who am I authentically? There's this whole conversation that I had the other day in a workshop where we did a meditation, non-duality meditation, which is, yeah, I get it, on a higher plane, on the oversoul level. We are all love and light. We are all divine consciousness. And from that consciousness point, you chose, every human chose to play the game of having a meat suit as, who says it, the meat suit, I copy that from Peter Crone, I think. He used that word a lot. Or avatar, character. Uh, and for me, so on that level, on the human plane, not on the oversoul non-dual level, but on the duality that we experience here of dark and light and colors and gray and whatever, heavy, light. On that plane, me as an entity, as a separate being, I can very much discover my authentic self. And the more I understand that I'm more than that, I am in the observer state. I treat myself like my own child. I treat myself like my own pet or a plant that I'm taking care of. And like, okay, I watered too much. Okay, now it's like not doing well, so I leave it for a while. And if I don't water the plant enough, then the leaves are hanging. So okay, I should put a little bit more water. Relating in that same way to myself, discovering what does this body really enjoy, what does this body really need, And how can I take good care of this, like of a car, you know, like if I put the wrong oil on the car, it's gonna break. If I don't change the, I don't know, tires, then I might get into an accident or whatever. So relating in that way to myself, and the more I put aside how Augustus, how my mind relates to how I'm supposed to be, what society's expectations are, or what I learned in school or from my parents or in the environment I grew up in, and I start from scratch, from a neutral standpoint, and discover like, okay, Ra seems to enjoy chocolate ice cream more than vanilla, so why would I go for vanilla? And doing that in every aspect of my life, again, from that trusting point of view, that if I'm welcome here, which I choose to believe, if I'm welcome to be just as I am, then the whole reason why I have an emotion called joy in this body is my higher self giving me a clear sign, look, dude, this is what this body is supposed to do. And if there's another experience, like the opposite of joy, maybe a contraction or a dissociation, or it feels hard and heavy, that's a very clear sign, well, that's maybe for someone else that experiences joy with that, but it's not for you. And for me, sorry. So, and my definition of success has really changed with that as well. Maybe it's too much of another topic to open now, but for me, success has at least 3 components that I'm aware of. Number 1, achievement, which is the common sense of success. You know, I get this much of revenue or income from what I'm doing, right? Or just like tangible numbers of whatever kind. Number 2, contribution. How much is what I'm doing helping other people? So that element. And the 3rd, satisfaction. How much do I enjoy? And that is, for me, actually the last one is the most important part. Like if anything, like it's the fuel for me at this point. Like I'm even almost unable at this point to do any task that is on some list, just because it's on the list. So my whole point of having a what people call to-do list, or I call it could-do list, or I know you call it wanna-do list or get-to-do list.
Get to do, yeah.
Yeah. The whole point why I have that list is just to have it out of my head.
Yeah.
And I used to relate to that list. So it's all about, like Sam with my phone, is it serving me or am I serving it? So the list is serving me by just putting it out there as a potential, as just something my mind has generated, the possibility of something I could do, okay? And maybe on some point, if I need a bit of inspiration and I have a lot of energy and I want to move that energy, I might look at that list and like, yeah, actually, this feels really good right now to do. This feels really aligned rather than good, because good is a label that I actually don't like to use. So, and it's also okay to just don't do anything from that list ever again. And yeah.
I found in my life, like when I'm super, super completely aligned, I don't even need the list because I remember exactly what to do, exactly when it's the perfect time to do it. And it'll just like arise at the perfect moment, or synchronistically it'll pop in. And so like the list becomes completely unnecessary.
Yeah, it's more like a crutch for me to satisfy Augustus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
feel safe.
yeah, and the last bit I want to throw in before throwing it back to you. From a place of play and pleasure, especially on a Monday morning, consciously checking in, what do I really feel like doing, as opposed to what would be the reasonable thing to do. I give you one example. The reasonable thing that Augustus comes up with is do Instagram marketing, record an amazing video, where you talk about some mind-blowing stuff that you downloaded and just, you know, hope that it goes viral and then people reach out to you or whatever, you know, because that's what everybody's preaching.
Yeah.
What I felt like doing is, no, I'm gonna go to a workshop that is really interesting for me. I'm in Bali right now, so there's a lot of free workshops all the time. So I went to that workshop and ended up having a conversation with one of the participants, and like after having some lunch. And actually she was very curious about what I'm doing in the world and might be a potential client in the future. So that
Mhm.
insistence of my mind, right? Like, you want to be successful in terms of achieve stuff and quote unquote get more clients, attract more people who I can support.
Mhm.
That's just a story. Or do I trust that me being in a playful state and just doing whatever I want to do will attract people who feel the same in that moment with me and who are then in a very high level of resonance with what I'm here for. And yeah, just even that is again mentalizing, I'm noticing right now, but just doing what I love to do and trusting that money loves me and that I don't have to run after it, for example. Yeah.
Yeah, what came up for me when you said that on a Monday morning, checking in, like, what do you want to do? How many children get that opportunity
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the compulsory standard educational system that has covered the globe at this point?
Yeah.
Like people are just conditioned, like, don't get up on a Monday morning and check in with your heart and your body and your soul and be like, what would bring me the greatest joy to do today? You just go to fucking school. Like you don't have a choice. There's no checking in. There's no conversation. There's no discussion. There's no input. And then 12 years of that, or however long, and then people go to work. And
Mm.
it isn't about like, what does your heart want to do on this Monday morning? And I
Yeah.
think
It's just all
that's,
about obligation. Yeah.
yeah, that's slavery,
Mm-hmm.
and it's under the pretenses of freedom, and it's not fucking freedom. Because freedom is checking in with your heart and your body and your soul and having the sovereignty to do what those are wanting to do or telling you to
Mm.
do and following your pleasure and your joy and your bliss. And I'm very passionate about this topic. And both of my parents were school teachers, and I went to school, standard school, and I could tell from age 6 or 7, I was like, this is not built for human thriving. This
Mm-hmm.
isn't good for me as a very sensitive, playful, intuitive, artistic, talkative child who was
Mm.
punished for all of my light that I was shining too brightly in the school setting.
Yeah.
And then now with my children, we get up on a Monday morning at whatever time we wake up, whatever time they want to wake up. And some days we turn off all the technology and we say, what do you want to do today?
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel like doing? Where do you want to go? Do you want to go to the park? Do
Mm-hmm.
you want to go visit the kittens at the playground? Do you want to take the sky tram up to the park at the top of the hill and go on the Ferris wheel? Do you want to go to a cafe and get a chocolate croissant and do some watercolors together? You
Yeah.
know?
And I can hear Augustus coming in like, wow, that's such an unreasonable thing to do. And la 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 la. It
And
is,
there's a lot of fear.
yeah.
People freak
It's
out.
really, it's really a courageous thing to do. Like, to like, and like even the next step, like if someone is triggered by that and drops a judgment like, this is unreasonable, and maybe you are listening right now on YouTube or wherever this is uploaded and feel like, yeah, what are these people talking about, like I couldn't do that, or like maybe they're in a privileged position or whatever, and then just I want to point out, you're a single mom traveling the world and having no financial support but your own. So um just to throw that into the mix here. And that was always very impressive for me, by the way, very
Mm.
inspiring. Uh, the level of how you are able and choosing to take care of yourself in the midst of running a business and having two daughters full time. It's yeah, it's very inspiring, and it's a brave thing to do. For me, bravery is feeling the fear and still choosing what feels aligned with my highest version and going through it rather than trying to avoid it, right? Because the only thing really that stands in the way, and the part of me that's like, this is unreasonable, whatever, is the part that doesn't want to feel the discomfort of the fear in my body. Of like, what happens in 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10 years if I still just go do freaking watercolors on a Monday morning?
Yeah, and maybe what happens is you become Shel Silverstein and you write a stupid book of poems with line drawings that people like love, like, and bring so much joy. You know, like if Shel Silverstein, who is I assume everybody knows who he is. He's very famous in
I
the
don't.
industry, but oh, you don't know who he is? Okay. So he is a poet who he wrote children's books. Some of his most famous ones are Where the Sidewalk Ends and A Light in the Attic and The Giving Tree, which The Giving Tree is a horrible book because it's based on martyrdom and the sacrifice of the feminine for the masculine. So that one aside, his books of poems are amazing because they're just fucking silly and stupid. And he wrote these poems that are just silly poems, and then he did these line drawings. And he, I don't know how much financial success, but I'm sure he became a multi-millionaire with these books because like they were a staple of my childhood. They're a staple of my children's childhood. And it was just a guy writing silly poems and doing silly drawings. And I'm sure he was, punished for that by his family or his school system or whatever. And also who comes to mind is Paulo Coelho, who's the writer of The Alchemist. He was institutionalized in his teens and 20s because he wanted to be a writer. And his family's like, you're insane. You're going to starve. So they put him in a mental hospital
Wow.
because he wanted to be a writer. And then he worked his way through that and he became a writer and he published The Alchemist, which is one of the top selling books of all time. So again, multi-millionaire following his heart against everybody else's judgments, people saying he was crazy, people institutionalizing him for that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Yeah. And what I find so fascinating working with hypnotherapy and working with beliefs directly for many years now, that part of me in my mind telling me this is the way to go in order to stay safe.
Mm-hmm.
Which might not be the way I prefer or that feels the most playful, joyful, pleasant for me. The only reason that I would follow that fear voice is to avoid uncomfortable emotions in my system. We can call that trauma if you want, but the liberation comes for me in being okay with any feeling. Like not resisting any feeling. Like if something is pleasant in the moment and I don't know what's gonna happen in the future, maybe there is an unpleasant result, or maybe it's not. Right? For example, a belief that definitely is in my family is employees are safer than self-employed people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I really don't feel the same way. Like, if I am an employee, I have one person sending me money. If that business goes bankrupt, I lose my job, I have nothing. Just one example. If I'm self-employed as I am, I have multiple sources of income. If one of them falls away, I still have another couple. So, and the whole, my boss, my hypothetical boss, which I never had because I was never an employee, telling me what to do, when to do, and whatever, might just wear me down over time. While as now, with the self-leadership that I've developed, I align with what works for me. And I don't impose on others that they, quote unquote, should work the same way. I know that my way of doing things is very unique and very different to what I was shown in childhood, how, let's say, a good worker is acting or whatever. It's very different, completely different.
Something to something just dropped in around that. So when we're solopreneurs, soul-led entrepreneurs, we're figuring out how to offer our gifts in service to the world, in highest value to the collective. Whereas if you're an employee, you're selling your soul, you're offering your gifts or whatever work that you're doing, which probably are not even the highest expression of your gifts, to this person who's extracting value, and they're giving some kind of value exchange to the world. But it's not necessarily for the highest good. Like most corporations, like their goal isn't the highest good and thriving of all humanity and all beings on the planet. Their goal is to make profit. And yes, you have to give some kind of value to receive, hypothetically, but it's such a different mechanism of being the self leader, that you are and that I am, and going through the uncomfortable process of what are my deepest, most terrifying gifts that I'm really fucking afraid to show up fully as, because I might be rejected, I might be made fun of, I might be not good enough, da da da. And so to build the strength and the capacity in the container to identify and then to give those gifts that are in the highest good, like that's a
Yeah.
completely different skill set than being an
Mm-hmm.
employee and being extracted from.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always known that, like as an employee, because I was an employee for many, many, many years, and I could feel the degradation to my soul. Like I
Mm.
could feel that it was eroding my soul and like killing me
Mm.
slowly. And going into the being an entrepreneur, solopreneur, soulpreneur over these last, I mean, it's been now 15 years of trying to figure it out. Like it's been very difficult and very terrifying and very uncomfortable in a lot of ways. And now I feel like I'm finally coming over the crest of having broken through what I'm here to give and finally giving it, and then being received, and people are like, oh, I want to pay you for that. Now that you're finally doing
Mm.
it, I want to pay you for it. I'm like, oh, great. I thought maybe no one would want to pay me for this because I didn't think I was good.
Mm.
I was afraid I wasn't.
Yeah. What comes to me, especially you being Pisces, is the fish on the water, not understanding that it's good at swimming, and
Mm-hmm.
someone telling the fish like, "Hey, you're like impressively good swimmer," and the fish is like, "What are you talking about? Like, what do you even mean?" And the other, whatever, octopus, uh, explains the fish what swimming is, and the fish is like, "But that's just me being me, right?"
Yeah.
So our zone of genius being almost invisible to
Mm-hmm.
ourselves without a mirror from the outside because it feels like breathing, like a bird would never consider flying a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And exactly then, like discovering that, like, oh, this feels like breathing to me. So I never thought about that. It could be anyhow special, quote unquote special, or something that other people admire because they don't have it in that degree. And then in the second step, stepping into that, owning it, and even feeling worthy, receiving for something that's so effortless for me, so playful, so joyful, so easy, uh, and to quote unquote charge or receive money from other people who appreciate that, feeling like, yeah, the imposter part, right? Who is like, yeah, but I can't charge for breathing, you know? Or a fish like, yeah, like, what? Like, you're gonna pay me for swimming? Like, it's, yeah, it's pretty much upside down, the whole thing of I need to squeeze myself into a box that someone else has created, and then like as a fish learn to fly or as a bird learn to swim in order to survive in a system that is set up either for fishes when I'm a bird or for birds when I'm a fish. So it's like, well, maybe there's like a whole world of possibilities. And um, I like the lion growing up between sheep as well, and always like trying to chew the grass and like, it's not it doesn't feel right, and everybody says bah, and on some point realizing like, well, this fellow over there looks different, and like they come to you and say like, yeah, I'm a lion, and actually you're a lion too. What the fuck are you doing here with all these sheep? Hmm. Yeah, it's a magical journey, and it's the whole self leadership, which is why I've created my community around that topic. It's a very lonely journey. It's no one else can help me, so to say, because I'm working towards a horizon no one, including myself, knows what is behind it. And all I can do, and that's what I find the most helpful, is connect with other people who are on the way to their horizon and inspire each other in that playful, curious discomfort of the unknown. That I can do. I think this has potential for like 5 videos or something, like all the things that we are touching on here.
Yeah, and I love that container that you created. Just to do a little plugging here of the self leaders, because yeah, it's very lonely to leave the tribe and the pack to try to bushwhack your own path in life, which is what are my authentic gifts that I'm here to give to
Mm-hmm.
the world and receive for. And most people are like, well, that's not possible. You know, you need to get a job, and you need to do this, you
Mm-hmm.
need to do that, you need to go to school. And it's like, no, like that's not what I need to do. Maybe other people need to do that, but like I know that I need to do something else, but I don't even know what the fuck it is. And how do I do it? And how do I keep the faith and the belief? And so that's what dropped in, you know, like the self-leadership
Mm.
club that you created. It's a group of safe people who are believers, you know, in themselves, even if they still have doubts, and believers
Mm-hmm.
that this more authentic, aligned life is possible. And then also the magic makers, like the people who have taken control of their destiny and are
Yeah.
choosing the kind of life that they want to live. You know, like we're global nomads and we live in different countries, and we're doing work that feeds our soul at the deepest level now, finally. And it's a really, it can be a very long, lonely, uncomfortable, scary, doubt-filled journey
Mm-hmm.
to get here. Yeah. And so it's so nice to have other people that are also on the journey, that you know you're not alone. You're not
Mm-hmm.
alone
Mm-hmm.
in all of the hope and all of the doubts and fears.
Yeah, yeah,
Isn't that
yeah.
crazy?
It's always coming in waves, right? Like sometimes I have this like peak of energy and output, and something's really landing, and I feel like, oh, now I finally got it, and then it's stagnating or going down, and like, oh, and yeah, to just again what I mentioned earlier, remembering on a physical level, on my body level, that I'm already safe. That
You're
money
already
already,
whole.
I'm already safe, I'm already whole, I'm already loved, and money already loves me, for
Mm-hmm.
example, for that sense. And yeah, this dance of forces between committing to something
Mm-hmm.
and non-attaching,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and staying
Yeah.
open, staying in the driver's seat, and staying in the zoom out,
Mm-hmm.
instead of going too much down the rabbit hole,
Mm-hmm.
like Google Earth versus rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
And it needs both, right? Like our particular rabbit hole, and then still like, okay, do I want to stay in this rabbit hole, or is it time to dig another one on the other side of the globe or whatever, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the paradox. Like, I think paradox is one of the most powerful words that I know of for being human, because humans are paradoxes. We're fully human and we're fully divine. We're completely vulnerable and mortal, and we're also eternal and immortal and powerless and powerful. And so it's like that paradox of holding two ideas at once simultaneously. And can you move through the world with both? And something I realized through my free birthing of my children was that I had to be completely in like certainty and clarity of I'm going to free birth my children. Like I'm not going to a hospital. I'm not da da da. Like this is my full intention, like the power of completely holding and sculpting my intention, and at the same time completely surrendering. Maybe maybe this baby wants to be born via cesarean. And if that's the flow of life and my life journey and path, I have to completely surrender and trust that it's all for the highest good, which is like such a mind fuck, like literally for Augustus, for our minds that want to control
Mm.
everything, having like going full in on the intentional commitment to what you're creating and at the same time completely surrendering to the higher good, like that's a really fucking difficult line to toe.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Maybe to wrap it up for today.
What's alive in your body?
Safety.
Ask me
Yeah.
first.
Safety. Wait. That before safety and authenticity. So, what helps me a lot, speaking for myself without giving advice, what helps me a lot, dropping into more safety while being authentic,
Mm-hmm.
or creating more authenticity from feeling safe. It's both ways. Is surrounding myself with people like you who are having a high desire of authenticity and discovering themselves. So there's this, I don't know where I caught it multiple times, like that the 5 people who are closest to me, which is pretty much all my life partners, um, that I am, let's say, a mix of all they are standing for, usually. So through the resonance principle, like it is rather impossible or very difficult, and why would I choose that? Difficult to surround myself with people who don't mirror something back to me that I like to amplify in myself. It's
Mm-hmm.
really, and for everybody who's listening and feels like, yeah, well, I have this good friend for like 30 years, which I used to have as well, and maybe they don't really match that anymore who I am now, but I want to keep them as a person in my life. It's like, yeah, maybe it's still possible to align or maybe not. And I know from personal experience very well how challenging it is uh, to close any kind of relationship and to distance myself and to choose myself, and choose loneliness or being alone. Let's say it like this. At this point, I feel actually more when I'm alone, I'm still with myself. So not lonely, but with myself. So never alone. Um, but it used to feel very different. And that's terrifying and still self loving. What's happening in your body?
Well, for me, you're the safest person I think that I've ever met. And I know that I'm one of those also for you. And that's more and more like the last year or so. Emotional safety has been kind of my biggest focus in relationship is like, uh, do I have do I have the space for myself to allow my emotions that are inside of me safety, like giving space to my emotions to show up and arise and hold space for them in safety instead of repressing, rejecting, denying, fighting. And then in my relationships, does does this person have the capacity to hold emotional safety, for me and for themselves? And I feel like this authenticity, emotional safety thing, it all comes down to that of like, in my life, I want people who are as authentic as they can possibly be, like have a very high capacity for authenticity and have a very high capacity for safety.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
think they feed each other, because we all can be more authentic, like as authentic as we are, we still have people pleasing tendencies and things that come up and resistances and fears. And I know I see when I step back from being completely, fully authentic 100% of the time. And the more safety we have, the more opportunity we have to be authentic. And the more authentic we are, the safer we are. You know, like I'm a safe person because I've done the last 5 years, especially that work of being a safe space for myself in my body for everything that arises. And so I love how they both feed each other. And then there's more love and more freedom, which is what everybody also wants.
Yeah. And that element of me feeling safe in myself, other people feeling safe with me, and vice versa. When I spend time with someone who's safe in themselves, like you, then also dropping into even more safety in myself. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you. This was fun.
this was fun. I loved it. I thought it was an amazing conversation. I could talk to you forever.